slow, live it up, watching time go. Planning moves, things solid to this cheat code. Get your money, make it big, fuck being broke. Get your money, make it big, fuck being broke. Live slow, live it up, watching time go. Making moves, things solid to this cheat code. Get your money, make it big, fuck being broke. Get your money, make it big, fuck being broke. This how it is, the mission's Benjamins. And fuck the drama and the bullshit, we ain't little kids. My circle small, but my riders hard, they never quit. Get your money, keep it gangsta, solid, straight legit. Never switch like the real ones that die for this. It's fucked up, but this is truly how it is. I hope you're ready if you're picking this like full of sin. No turning back, I represent my vital to the end. Fuck the fakes and the snakes and everyone that hates. I'm not phased, I won't break, bitch, I'll never change.
You are now watching M.O.D. Entertainment.
What's good, G-Life? This right here is beautiful California. California, the Golden State. You know, the state of perfect weather, beautiful sandy beaches, mountain terrains, the glamorous life, the high life. You know, a lot of people do wish that they lived in California, you know what I'm saying? We do have, you know, when it comes to weather and things to do, there's a lot of things to do in California, but it also gets treacherous in California. California being, you know, gangbang capital, home of thousands of gangs, you know what I mean? From Asian to white to black to Hispanic. You know, you get everything in the middle, from Crips to Bloods, to, you know, white supremacist groups, to white biker gangs, to, you know, Hispanic neighborhoods, you know, from Northern California and Southern California. And one of the infamous, you know, or well-known documented, you know, incidents when it comes to California politics is the feud between the North and the South. You know, norteños and sureños. The ripple in the Hispanic raza, you know what I mean? The dividing line, you know, which, you know, stands in Bakersfield, you know, because Bakersfield and up is considered Northern California. And then Bakersfield and down is considered Southern California. You get what I mean? A senseless battle that has been going on for way too long. You get what I'm saying? With talks of peace, you know, it's gotten a little bit better, but then you still have your incidents that occur and stuff like that. So it's not perfect, but a little bit of progress is better than a whole lot of no progress, in my opinion. And now, here's the funny and trippy part about everything. Although there is, you know, a disconnection between North and South, what many people don't really know is that even though there's a misconnection between the both groups and both sides, they share a lot of things in common, more things in common than they actually like to say that they do, you know, including same mind state and mentality. Despite what these individuals are going to want to say, I never come to lie or bullshit. I only come and tell it how it is. They could hate it or love it. You know what I mean? You can't be mad at the truth. The truth is the truth, bro. And one of the things is, you know, besides that they're both prideful groups and they're both going to handle the thing, you know what I'm saying? Because they're both, you know, have, you know, obviously warrior blood in them. And so they're going to make a stand, you know what I'm saying? No side is better than no other side. They're both, you know, about their business and they're both going to handle their business. Despite what these individuals are going to want to say, they don't live in the real world. These guys are not going to let themselves, those guys are not going to let themselves, these guys are going to defend their shit, they're going to defend their shit. I mean, come on, who are we trying to kid here, bro? Grow up. Now, if there's one thing that they share in common is the name of Varrios. There is Norteño Varrios and Sureño Varrios that have the exact same name. You know what I mean? Similarities in their barrios, and we'll be discussing it here. So with no further ado, let's get into it. Now we'll be starting off right here in the area that is known as the Southeast. The Southeast is definitely a well-known treacherous area within LA County. This is the area where it definitely cracks because you have a lot of barrios, you know, throughout this area. A lot of old neighborhoods too, you know what I'm saying? A lot of, you know, it's not just Los Angeles full of, you know, old barrios, but you got sections over here that have some old neighborhoods, you know, like Jimtown and barrios like that, you know what I mean? That have already been right here, you know, for quite some time, you know. Yeah. And one of the barrios that's already an old barrio within right here, the Southeast, is actually the Barrio Horseshoe Rifa. Barrio Horseshoe Rifa, definitely a well-known barrio within this area. Now, although this barrio, you don't see it up as much as you used to before, you know what I mean? Because, you know, due to a bunch of gangs just sprouting out. Makes recruitment a lot more difficult. Homies getting busted. You already know how it goes down. You know what I mean? But nonetheless, this Varro still has homeboys that represent their hood. You know what I mean? Don't ever get it twisted. You know what I mean? And their Varrios, right there, really close to like the, Pico Viejo, Varrios, and those kind of Varrios, where it be cracking, the danger zone, they happen to be up in the mix. Because the Varrio Horseshoe neighborhood is everything that's from Whittier Boulevard all the way to Durfee to Rosemead, and Rosemead, their neighborhood is still all the way back on over. So like everything that's West Boulevard, Union Street, High Tree Street, Speedway, all of that, and everything that's in the middle is considered their barrio. You know what I mean? Throughout that area of the southeast. And the reason why this barrio is known as Horseshoe is because their barrio is shaped like a horseshoe. You get what I'm saying? And that's the reason, why this barrio is named Horseshoe. And they already been right here for a long time. And this is a real barrio. Despite what individuals want to be talking, they just don't know. You know what I mean? They like talking without knowing. It's a real neighborhood in the southeast, real, if you ask a real motherfucker that's from the southeast, they gonna recognize this barrio, because this barrio was out there and they were doing their thing just like every other barrio was doing their thing. Don't ever get it twisted. That Horseshoe Rifa was definitely holding it down for theirs, which was that VHS or HSR, either one, you could see it up, in that way. And like I said, this barrio has definitely real, homeboys that held it down, for theirs, you know what I mean? That were doing their thing, these guys were no chubs, you couldn't just go to their barrio before and just be like, like you own the, the shit, you know what I mean? You were gonna get your dome blown. Because these were real individuals that were doing real things for their neighborhoods. Nowadays, a little bit more just like older cats and stuff like that. A few youngsters here and there, but like I said, it's still a barrio that has real motherfuckers that put it down for their set. You know what I mean? So don't ever get it twisted. The real neighborhood right here out of the southeast, that barrio Horseshoe Rifa, Horseshoe Gang, still putting it down for theirs. Now, as we maneuver our way to the area in Northern California known as San Jose. San Jose is an area that is very notorious, treacherous. It is home to a lot of norteño neighborhoods and a lot of sureño neighborhoods. They're equivalent of like Los Angeles, you could say, because it cracks in San Jose. You know what I mean? San Jose, a big city, a lot of things to do. So obviously it's going to get a lot of attention. A lot of people are going to gravitate to that area. You know what I mean? To see what's popping. And then they get it popping. So it cracks in San Jose. It's a notorious area. It be going down. But not just San Jose. We're actually going to be maneuvering our way to the west side of San Jose, to be exact. And the west side of San Jose is where we're able to find, one of these norteño neighborhoods that has the similar name to the southern neighborhood. And that's by no coincidence, because at least this is from what I was told, is that at one point it was the same barrio, because you had guys that were from the Horseshoe Gang that moved to San Jose. And then, obviously, this being northern town, they transitioned themselves as norteños, as a norteño neighborhood. So hence, the neighborhood splitting into two. And it's a common thing, a lot of neighborhoods, go through this. You have, parts of their neighborhood that break off or they separate, or they become two different neighborhoods. It happens more often than people think. You know what I'm saying? It actually happens quite often. And no different right here. While the other one kept their name as, Horseshoe Rifa, Barrio Horseshoe. This one as well, Barrio Horseshoe, and they are located right here. Everything that's from Williams to Jerome, going north and to south of Harrison, to the 87th freeway, going west to east. So everything that's in the middle is considered the Horseshoe neighborhood. And the Horseshoe neighborhood is already an old barrio that's been right here in San Jose. One of the original neighborhoods within this area. So at one point they had a strong presence, dominant presence within the area. As time, their homies getting busted, they swept up because of all these, acts and motions. You already know how it goes down. They're not as large as they once were, but don't get it twisted. They still handle business. You know what I mean? They still got members that hold it down pridefully for their barrios. These guys ain't no suckers. You know what I mean? They're some of the pioneers when it comes to this area. And But yes, they did have a connection to the barrio down there because their homies had moved, over there, and then they just became norteños. You know what I mean? That's just how it is. That's how it goes down. And from what, at least from what I was told, is that this neighborhood has been established here since the 70s, 80s, 70s, por allí. It's when this neighborhood, was established and planted their flag, and bam, homie, been rocking it since. And in the beginning, it was, very chaotic right there in that area, because you do have other barrios within the area, like West Side Mob, and then there was conflicts and bodies dropping and red on red, and it was crazy, homie. It was chaotic, and then the Sureños came into the picture, and it just became more chaotic, and it's been a battle zone ever since. You get what I'm saying? It definitely cracks right here in San Jose, but the Horseshoe Varrios still right here, you know what I mean, handling their business and continue to still represent for theirs, you know what I mean? These guys ain't no suckers, ain't no chumps, and they continue striving right here for the area of San Jose and for their barrio, that Norteño Barrio Horseshoe gang. Now, as we make our way to the area that is known as Nela is an area that we have already broke down here several times, home to several different barrios within this area of Nela, housing up to 13 different gangs. It definitely cracks in Nela, you know what I mean? And Nela, to be exact, the specific area of Nela that we will actually be heading to is to the area that is known as Cypress Park. Cypress Park is home to a barrio that is known as Cypress Park Boys, you know what I mean? Or just Barrio Cypress Park, either way you can see it up. But the Barrio Cypress Park Boys is already a pretty old school barrio that has already been right here since the 70s that this neighborhood was established. And now their territory is pretty extensive. They're spread out throughout Cypress Park. Have to kind of coexist with the the Avenues gang that stays right there, you know what I mean? Because it is in the area, where the Avenues are, where you have Highland Park and stuff like that. So you're gonna have, and then Glass Hill Park, you're gonna get neighborhoods that overlap each other and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? But the Barrio Cypress Park Boys, their territory is everything that's from Devonshire Street all the way to San Fernando Road, and from San Fernando Road their territory extends all the way to Figueroa Street, and everything that's in the middle throughout Cypress Avenue is considered their barrio. So that's from when I mean it's pretty extensive, their territory is pretty much everything that's from Cypress and Future Street all the way to Cypress and Pepper Avenue. So everything that's in the middle is considered their barrio, So throughout Avenue 27th, Mercio, Luzmore Street, Roseview, Allison Street, and all of that, Future Street, everything that's considered all of that is their territory, you know what I mean? So pretty much, all the way to Avenue 30th. Is where you're able to find the Varrios Cypress Boys, and a real neighborhood that's been right here doing real things, you know what I mean? It definitely cracks right here, like I said, because you have so many different barrios, within this area. It definitely pops off, especially the tensions between the avenues and all that. And I at least was told that this barrio broke off of that, but at least that's what they say. You know what I mean? But the Varrios Cypress Park Boys, a real neighborhood that continues to still represent for theirs and hold theirs down. And now, as we make our way to San Francisco, is the area where we're able to find the next neighborhood with a similar name to Homeboy's neighborhood. And not just, San Francisco, but to be exact, the south of San Francisco. South San Francisco is the area where we'll be heading to find this next barrio on the list. And to be exact, we're heading to the area that is known as Cypress Park. Cypress Park is an area that's located right here in South San Francisco, and it is home to one of these northern neighborhoods, and the northern neighborhood's name is CPL. Now, CPL translating to Barrio Cypress Park Locos. Barrio Cypress Park Locos is already a neighborhood that's been here for a cool minute, since the 90s that they were established. Late 80s, early 90s when this neighborhood was established. And now this neighborhood wasn't a large neighborhood, but it had its numbers, you know what I mean? It had its numbers, its people, its riders. So these guys were no suckers, basically. And that's how the barrio is written, South San Francisco, Cypress Park Locos. So it's not like two separate neighborhoods, that's just how they write it. the CPLs. And because of the area right here that's known as Cypress Park, like I said, there's just areas in California that use the same name for their cities and stuff like that, which is actually kind of a trip, because how both, decided to name the area, this, and, both the areas, house Hispanics in it, and both areas ended up to have neighborhoods, from them. It's a trip how it works like that, sometimes. But that's why sometimes, people get confused, like, wait, I thought Cypress Park were Sureños, wait, I thought they were Norteños. Well, the reason why they get confused is because they're both, because they're two different gangs. Obviously, they had nothing in common, so it's not like Horseshoe where this gang, came over here. No, nothing like that. Each neighborhood just didn't know about each other and just happened to name themselves after the area. That's just how it works out. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, these guys have been right here for a cool minute, you know what I'm saying? Repping it for theirs and holding it down for theirs, They even have a few rappers out of this barrio. You could scope out some of their music on here and shit like that. But yeah, that's what's up with the Varrios Cypress Park, locals that holds it down right there in Cypress Park on Cypress Avenue and, Aspen, is where their dojo's at, and where they continue to still be doing them. Now, as we make our way to the Antelope Valley, to the 661, is where we're able to find the next barrio, within this area. Actually, we're going to be heading to the area that is known as Valverde. Valverde, right here in the 661, is home to Varrios. You know what I'm saying? Despite what individuals want to think, because how it looks, and ain't nothing cracking over here. Like, I'm telling you, people literally like just talking for absolutely no reason when they don't even know what the hell's going on. Because Valverde is home to a notorious neighborhood that is known as the Barrio Valverde Park. Valverde Park is already a well-known, barrio right here. The Valverde Park locals, has made the news several times. You know what I mean? These guys ain't playing. You know what I'm saying? They're not as large as they once were, obviously because of all the sweeps and everything like that, and their homies getting busted. But like I said, this neighborhood is the real deal. And the Barrio Valverde Park locals is everything that's from San Martinez Road. So San Martinez that slices throughout their barrio. Pretty, like all the way, as a matter of fact, all the way and throughout Handstock Street, pretty much where the Valverde Park's at. Everything around the area and throughout San Martinez Road is considered their barrio. You know what I mean? But the parque obviously being the domain where they hang out and do their thing. Throughout Cotton Street and Loma Verde, Mountain Way, right there on Arlington Street. Is where you're able to find the Barrio Valverde. And these guys ain't playing. Like I said, they made the news several times. They got hit with sweeps. And, you do have several barrios, within that area, it's just not, like theirs, you have other barrios, then you have like Cruz, then you have like black neighborhoods. So it does get on and cracking, you know what I mean? It's not all fine and dandy like people, claim it is. It definitely pops out. And the Barrio Valverde has already been right here since the late 80s, early 90s when this neighborhood was established. And continue to still be right there established and represented. Now, at least from what I was told, is that the northern hood came first, and then their homies moved down here and started it over here. But I heard different versions of the story, so take that from what you want from it. You know what I mean? Some say yes, some say no. That's like, what could I say? You know what I mean? But yeah, this is a real neighborhood that continues to still represent right here for the homeboys, and put it down for theirs in the Valverde neighborhood. Now, as we make our way up right here in Northern California to the area of Stockton. Stockton is a very notorious, treacherous area up here in Northern California. It is an area that definitely cracks, you know what I mean? It be cracking in Stockton, you know what I'm saying? Stockton is home to several different neighborhoods, black and Hispanic. There is a lot of Hispanic neighborhoods within this area. And one of the neighborhoods, within this area, does share the name with the southern neighborhood. Which, for that, we actually have to head to the area that is known as Valverde Hill Park. Or, as, is known to everyone else as the Valverde Park area. And this is where you're able to find the Valverde Park Norteños. Yes, Valverde Park Norteños. And at least from what I was told is that this neighborhood is actually older than the Homeboys neighborhood. This neighborhood actually being an old neighborhood as it is, early 80s when this neighborhood was established, at least from what I was told, you know what I mean? And at one point it was a large neighborhood. Now it's not as large as it once was, but still has its members that put it down for their area. Nonetheless, you can't take nothing from these individuals, because in this area, it definitely cracks, the Barrio Valverde, Park Norteños. Now their area, what they call home is actually the 24th block of, Arding, the Arding block, the 2400 Arding block. You always see it in their graffiti, you see it in their tattoos, you see them striking it up, because that's their domain, that's their dojo, that's that's where they get it on and popping, homie. That's their playground. You know what I'm saying? And definitely been holding it down right here for Stockton. They definitely been putting Stockton in the map. It's one of the neighborhoods that you definitely hear about when you hear about, the area of Stockton, at least from what I was told. You get what I'm saying? Because that they have real writers, homies busted that been doing things for their area and their side. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's what's up with the Barrio Valverde, Park, Norteños right here in Stockton out of the 2400 block.
Thank you for watching M.O.D Entertainment. Make sure you like and subscribe.